Is the real estate market finally starting to turn? Well, let's take a look at the numbers. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Rob Folia, your real estate broker and real estate educator with Keller Williams Realty. And hey, I'm seeing some interesting numbers in the market here. It's the first weekday of August. That means it's the first workday of August here. Let's take a look at what's happening in our local real estate market. And as always, if you have any questions about your specific situation, reach out to me. I'm here to be of service. I'm here to help. And if you're seeing this and maybe you're not from Middle Tennessee, but you have a question about your market, well, reach out to me anyway. I'm happy to answer questions generally about the real estate market and, of course, get you connected with somebody locally for you who can help you. But without further ado, let's take a look at some numbers. Quick reminder, if you're searching for a home here in Middle Tennessee, head over to robfolia.kw.com. You can search for all the homes that are out there, not just mine, not just my companies, but all the homes that are out there for sale you'll find on my website. But let's keep moving. Let's see what's happening with interest rates. Interest rates, man, they have actually hit a 12-month high. A very unlucky number here, 6.66% for a 30-year fixed rate. It's a 12-month high. Not the worst news we've ever seen. As you know, as you can see, the 12-month low is not even 0.75% less than what the high is here. But at the same time, you never want to see them trending in this direction. Hopefully, they really start to flatline out here, stay about where they are, maybe drop, who knows. But it emphasizes the fact that interest rates continue to fluctuate and change. And so you can't predict what they're going to do in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. So make sure you're making your real estate decisions based on the current market, not based on what you project them to be down the line. Because nobody 5 years ago expected rates to be where they are today. Nobody 6 months ago, well, I'm sure somebody said on this date they're going to be this percent, but nobody actively is saying, yeah, they're going to go up to 0.75% over a 9 month span and then drop. Nobody knows for sure. So make your decisions based on what's actually happening in today's market. Well, speaking of today's market, let's pull up a sample and see what's happening in Middle Tennessee. I'm going to start with and really just focus today on Davidson County. Again, Davidson is Nashville's county. It's the biggest county here in Middle Tennessee. So let's see what it's doing. When we compare July of 26 to July of 25, the numbers are kind of staggering. New listings, we're continuing to see that trend line be down significantly this year. It's been an ongoing trend from 26 to 25 for really every month. You can go back and watch previous months' market updates and see, but every single month it's been 20 to 25% lower in 26 than 25. You would think that would mean that less supply is hitting the market, that it's really driving up prices. It's, the demand that's out there is eating up the limited amount of homes that are for sale, but that's really not the case. In fact, what we're seeing right here, July of 26 to July of 25, the average sales price is and the median, actually both of them are pretty much flat with last year, up 3% or up 2%. I mean, yes, it's an improvement. But in the reality is, typically we see real estate appreciate, somewhere around 4% every single year. So when I'm seeing only 2 to 3%, it's below the norm. It's very much a flat market when we're looking July to July, which is interesting. On the flip side of that, when I'm seeing the average list price be up 5% year over year, so meaning that people are asking 5% more for their home today than they were this time last year, that shows that either sellers are not understanding the market or that real estate agents are not understanding the market. And it's probably some combination of both. Now, all of this combined is leading to list to contract to it's taking longer, meaning it's taking longer for a home to go under contract. Last year, 56 days, this year, 62 days. You might be thinking it's not a huge jump, but that's a 10% jump. It's about a week longer. And that's the average, meaning there are plenty of homes that it's taking much longer than that to go under contract. And honestly, this is kind of that tough time of year where some homes will sit for a very long extended period of time because we just came out of that really, really busy spring season. Now, unfortunately, some homes will sit for longer, and we're going to see that happen with months of supply. Again, months of supply is just that measurement with how well basically the buying market is eating up the homes that are for sale, right? If no other home were to ever hit the market, how long would it take the current amount of homes to sell? Well, this time last year, we were at 4.7 months. This year, we're close to 5.2 months. Almost an additional half a month here. It's up 10%. That's a pretty drastic jump. For historic purposes, 5 to 7 months, that tends to be that range that real estate economists think of as a balanced market, right? 5 to 7 months. So we're very much in that balanced market territory right now. And I'll be curious to see what things do here long term, because when you look at historic numbers and you look back, even just going, say, 5 years, months of supply always goes up this time of year. It always does. It's the second half of the year we start to see it rise. And in fact, at the end of last year, we saw it hit above 6 months, really for the first time in forever. Go above 6 months in November of 25. We're already at 5 right now. Now, if it flatlines for the next couple of months, that might not be a bad thing. That'll be a good thing to help stabilize the market. But if this number continues to climb over the next, say, 3 months, and say we're doing this video and it's not August, but it's October, and that number is in the sevens, that's a clear sign that we're entering a buyer's market to end 2026 and going into 2027. To me, what all of this simply means is that if you're a home buyer, yes, again, just like I said about interest rates, pay attention to the current market, because don't speculate. We have no idea what's going to happen 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. But at the same time, if you can afford to wait and you want to kind of play your odds, you might be in a more advantageous position in 3 to 6 months if you're purely a home buyer. Now, if you're purely a home seller, I think if you're purely a home seller, I think the situation could get worse for you 3 to 6 months from now. If months of supply does shoot up like that, like we're talking about, well, you might be in a rough spot. Now, here's the tricky part. Most people out there, at least most homeowners, are not a pure buyer or a pure home seller, meaning they have to sell their home in order to buy their home, or even if they don't have to, they want to sell their home in order to buy their home. Like that's just natural, right? That people don't want to have two mortgages. They don't want to own two homes. If you fall into that category, if it were me, I would act now. Act now while you know what the real estate market's doing, while you're still in a pretty advantageous position, while the market is still balanced. I don't see any time in the future where we're, at least in the next 6 to 12 months, where we're going to see months of supply drop, unless interest rates just, drop, the bottom drops out on those, and all of a sudden they go back to where they were a few years ago. No one's expecting that right now. And so unless interest rates drop, I don't see it becoming a more advantageous position for that home seller who's also buying. So if I were you, I would take action now. Take action now if you've got that flexible timeline. If you got to wait a couple of months, I think you're still going to be okay. I don't think we're going to see months of supply shoot up in the next 30 days, but we're probably going to see it increase over the next 30 days. I'd be surprised if it didn't increase a little bit. And October, November might come around. We might be looking at 7 months of supply, which is going to really be teetering on buyer market territory. Now, if you end up having to wait that long, it's okay. As long as you work with an agent like me, someone who understands the market, someone who looks at the numbers, someone who is going to have your back and price your home correctly and have honest conversations with you to actually get your home sold. If you work with the average agent, the agent who just got into town, so to speak, the agent who doesn't know the market, well, what's going to happen is your home's going to get overpriced and it's going to sit. So you want to work with someone aggressive like me, someone with experience like me, someone who's going to get you taken care of like me. If this is at all clicking with you and you have some questions about your real estate needs, hit me up. My contact information is below. You can reach out to me. I'd love to help you just evaluate your specific situation, get you taken care of. As always, I'm here to help. Thank you all so much, and we'll talk soon.